Hello gamers, Genesis Moss back again to review a steaming pile of dog crap for the Nintendo 64. I know, I sound like the AVGN, but this game is just so bad I can't help but just sound a little angry. Because I'm a huge Power Rangers fan, and today I'm reviewing Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. I wish someone would have rescued me so I didn't have to play this game. So let's put it in and see what we've got. So Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue is based off of the television show of the same name. It is about a group of people who have superpowers. They are on a rescue squad or something like that. Honestly, I haven't paid too much attention to Power Ranger stories in a very long time. But they have the ability to morph into superheroes who fight off evil monsters. They generally fight a larger force, which is generally in outer space, and they generally send down a group of expendable monsters like Foot Soldiers or the Putties from Mighty Morphin or Skeletor's Evil Robot Knights, something similar to that. And generally those expendable forces are led by a less expendable but still expendable villain that the Rangers end up defeating as well. They fight off the expendable forces, then they fight off the less expendable force. That monster then, after being defeated, is turned into a giant by the main forces in outer space or wherever the heck they're at. And then they jump into their Zords and they fight the monster again in a giant robot battle in a cardboard city. Honestly, the story is pretty much just as bad in the game as it is in the show. What makes it worse in the game is it's told through these terribly drawn comic book cutscenes that just look awful, and I have to give the story a 1.5. Now, the sound in this game sounds like it's very much phoned in. It sounds like it's being played out of a tin can. The music is awful. The sound effects sound terrible. Nothing that you hear sounds pleasing at all. Honestly, I thought about lighting a Q-tip on fire and sticking it in my ear to burn out these awful sounds from my memory. And that's why the sound gets a 1. The gameplay in this is absolutely terrible, and not one of them is fun. You have your first mode, which is where you play as a ranger running around fighting the expendable forces, and it just plays bad. You don't even have like the martial arts moves that a Power Ranger should have. You have a front attack and a back attack, and yes, you may make that attack with your fist and your feet, but what happens is you have a beam that comes out of your hand or a beam that comes out of your foot. And that's what makes the front and back attacks. It's not actual martial arts moves, it's just like these long-range beam attacks that are just really bad, just terrible. Then after that, you have this really poorly done, tacked-on rescue mode, where it's generally a side-scrolling screen and you have a rescue vehicle and you're moving up and down the screen, putting out fires, rescuing people, stuff like that. And it just plays bad. Like, it's really slow and not fun. And then you have your Zord battles, which are just terrible. They're done in like a first-person mode, and it's bad. Like, generally speaking, you would think in a Zord battle, you would have the giant robot, it'd be third-person, and you'd be pummeling the monster. Nope. It's this first-person mode where you're moving the camera around, and you're blasting the monster with little zaps until it's finally defeated. And it's simple, it's boring, and it's not fun. And that's why the gameplay gets a 1. Speaking of 1s, let's talk controls. Being that there are like 3 different gameplay modes, I'm not going to tell you what all the buttons do, but let's just say I'd be better off playing with a brick than the controller because it plays bad. This is one of the worst controls I've ever played on an N64 game. Like, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this game, but they were not thinking about fun at all. The controls get a 1 because they are not fun, and I'd be better off using a brick. Finally, we're going to talk about the graphics. They're bad. The textures are terrible. The polygons are terrible. Sometimes the game just doesn't even look like they finished it. Honestly, this game feels completely unfinished because of the graphics. Have you ever seen a Ranger run like this? I've never seen one run like this. What episode of Power Rangers was this? I've never seen a person run like this. This is bad. I don't know why they thought they could get away with making such a bad Power Rangers game, but maybe I'm just spoiled on the game on the Super Nintendo that was fantastic. But this is awful. That's why the graphics get a 1 too. So overall, this game is a piece of crap. Don't buy it. Don't play it. Don't look at it on your friend's shelf. It's awful. And that's why this game gets a 1.1 out of 5. This is one of the lowest scores I've ever given. This game is terrible. And I'm done with it. Now, that being said, I want you guys to leave me a comment in the section below and let me know what you think about Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on the N64. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like the show? Did you prefer the Sentai? Let me know. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section, and I'll feature some of those comments in my next video. Speaking of my next video, stay tuned next week because I'll be reviewing World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse for the Sega Genesis.